We've got breaking news into Texas Tech men's basketball as the Red Raiders have officially landed the commitment of one of the best players in this portal class, a New Mexico forward, JT Toppin. In today's video, we'll discuss his skill set, his fit with the Red Raiders, and much, much more. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And if you're excited about JT Toppin committing to the Scarlet and Black, I want you to do two things for me. First and foremost, like the video and go down into the comment section and type JT. This is a huge commitment for the Red Raiders and one that absolutely transforms the front court for Texas Tech in year number 2 of Grant McCasland. If you can't tell, I'm super excited about it. I know you are too, so like the video and head down to the comments and type JT if you're excited about JT Toppin committing to the Scarlet and Black. All right, let's jump into this because this is the big fish, right? Like this is the one. This is the one that Texas Tech fans have wanted the most in this portal cycle, and we'll get to it in a second in terms of all the ties he has to Texas Tech. But let's lay the groundwork in terms of what's the skill set for JT Toppin? What are the Red Raiders getting in the presumed starter at either the 4 or the 5 spot next year in year number 2 of Grant McCasland? Well, he's 6'9", 210 pounds, averaged 12.4 points per game, 9.1 rebounds in 26 minutes per game as a true freshman for the Lobos out in Albuquerque. He was the 2023-2024 Mountain West Freshman of the Year. The last one turned out pretty good for Texas Tech when that happened. He was also named to the second team All-Mountain West as well. He led the Mountain West in the following categories as a true freshman: field goal percentage, rebounds per game, offensive rebounds per game, and blocks per game. His 62.3% field goal percentage is top 20 all-time by a freshman in Division I NCAA college basketball. Think about that. Top 20 all-time. That's what he did as a true freshman. He is a Dallas, Texas native, and I mentioned that there are heavy ties to the program. I think they've been well publicized, whether you get your news from Scarlet and Black, Twitter, wherever it is. I think that they've talked about the connections that JT Toppin has to the Red Raider men's basketball program. Obviously, Buff. He's known Buff for a long time, and for those that don't know, Kellen Buff Buffington is the general manager for Texas Tech men's basketball. They have a relationship back to JT Toppin's grassroots days in the Dallas area. He's also best friends with Jazz Henderson Jr., a walk-on for the Red Raiders. So he will once again get to play with his best friend and guy that he grew up with. Obviously really cool there. But when you look at the percentile in terms of where JT Toppin is ranked nationally in his true freshman season at New Mexico, and by the way, if y'all aren't paying attention to Mountain West basketball and what they did last year, it was one of the better conferences, not at the mid-major level, but in the country. They had 6 teams make the NCAA tournament last year, and New Mexico was one of them, and New Mexico was picked as one of the darlings in March Madness as a 12 seed. They ended up losing in the first round, but not because of JT Toppin. Look at these numbers that JT Toppin had as a true freshman for the Lobos. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you look at his synergy page. So he ranks 85th percentile or higher nationally in the following categories: against man defense, 95th percentile; against zone, 94th percentile; against the press, 94th percentile; on out-of-bounds plays where he is involved in touching the basketball, 87th percentile; in transition, 98th percentile. He ranks 70th percentile, which according to Synergy is ranked as very good in the pick and roll as the roll man. And that's where his game is best right now, but you can tell going through the NBA draft process, and the reason he's returning to school is because he didn't get a promise, right? And I think he has to develop on his shot a little bit more. Again, 6'9", if you can go out closer to the perimeter and at least make defenses respect your shot, JT Toppin's game is going to elevate that much more. When you watch his film, it's hard not to see a guy that could be a fringe lottery pick if everything goes right. And I think Texas Tech is the perfect spot for him to be at in terms of maximizing his skills and getting that amount of exposure that you need to have to be a first-round pick. You think about the point guards that the Red Raiders have, okay? You think about it from the Elijah Hawkins perspective. He is the best passer in America, according to numerous experts in the college space, right? But then you also think about Christian Anderson, a guy that is a 4-star freshman coming in. He's also a really good passer and really good in the pick and roll. JT Toppin is a guy that is elite in the pick and roll. And if you can make a defense respect your shot on the pick and pop and not just roll, skyrocket to the moon emoji. Shout out to Dogecoin. But in my opinion, when you look at JT Toppin and what he is bringing to the 806, I think it's clear as day, in my opinion, Texas Tech is getting an all-conference type player. Just think about this. I know I mentioned him a little bit earlier. Darion Williams was the Mountain West Freshman of the Year in 2022-2023. Think about what D5 did in his first year and taking a sizable jump, right, from Nevada to Texas Tech. That is the Mountain West to the Big 12. What did D5 do? He became arguably one of the best wings in the conference and got snubbed from the all Big 12 second team. He ended up on the third team, but let's be real. If you watched college basketball last year in Texas Tech and the Big 12 in general, he should have been on the all Big 12 second team. He was on the third one. He is a guy that you can see that level of play from JT Toppin. Obviously a different skill set, but you can see easily JT Toppin being that guy that is one of the top 6 bigs in the Big 12. And that's saying something when you look at the talent that front courts have in the Big 12. You're looking at Kansas, Iowa State. Obviously, Baylor always seems to have a pair of 7-footers. There is legit powerhouse type guys in terms of the front court in the Big 12. JT Toppin is part of that now at Texas Tech. You've got a guy that you can build your front court around, and him and Fetty as the 1-2 punch at the 4 and the 5 or the 5 position, however they use them, create one of the better duos in the front court in the Big 12. You think about it, JT is really good offensively. He's pretty damn good defensively too, 1.9 blocks per game. Fetty, he's a guy that's a roll man. So you could potentially play JT Toppin at the same time as Fetty now if JT Toppin improves his shot, and there's no reason to think he won't. So I'm really excited about this. Again, we're talking about a guy that led the Mountain West Conference in field goal percentage, rebounds, offensive rebounds per game, and blocks per game as a true freshman. The craziest stat here is his 62.3% field goal percentage ranks top 20 all-time by a freshman in NCAA Division I history. This is a monumental in terms of impact commitment for the Red Raiders, and one now where you start thinking a little bit. If you're Texas Tech, you got the point guard wrapped up with Elijah Hawkins, right? You got the 2 spot wrapped up with, well, you can't go wrong with either option of Kevin Overton or Chance McMillan. You got D5 at the 3. DC, Devin Cambridge is looking pretty damn good, posting some clips on Instagram every now and then about his rehab with his knee injury. It looks like he could be potentially ready to go by game number 1 of the 2024-2025 season for the Red Raiders. And now you have an elite, and I'm not using that word, trying to just overreact here. You have an elite duo in the front court, in my opinion, that complement each other really, really well. And JT Toppin and Federico. And oh, by the way, I'm a guy that likes Emelialahu too. He's also in the mix. So Texas Tech goes out and lands, in my estimations, a top 10 player in this portal cycle. And now you're feeling really, really good if you're Texas Tech, because you're looking at this roster. You filled the point guard spot, like I said, plethora of wings. You're deep there. And now you've got a duo in the front court that can compete with just about damn near anybody in the Big 12. Again, the big news here is Texas Tech gets a big fish in the portal. JT Toppin commits to the Red Raiders, and, well, he's going to look good in the scarlet and black. There's no doubting that. I am RC Maxfield, reminding you to do 2 things before you head out of here for me. Actually, let me not lie. 3 or 4. Hit that like button. Go down to the pinned comment below and just type JT. That's all I want you to do. If you're excited about JT Toppin committing to the Red Raiders, and while you're at it, you might as well hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell to stay in the know on all things Texas Tech men's basketball all year long, right here on the most engaging and largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel.